Hey guys, well, in today's video, I'm going to list off some of the craziest ways to die. I mean, some of these are actually kind of weird, like, well, of course they're weird, they're the craziest ways to die, but, like, kind of freaky, I guess, and just weird. Okay, in 620 BC, an Athenian lawmaker, Draco, a Athenian lawmaker, was smothered to death by gifts of cloaks and hats showered upon him by appreciative citizens at a theater. Yeah, some way to die, isn't it? Huh. Well, I guess that would be a good way to die. I mean, death by gifts. I guess gifts can be deadly. That was one bad gift. Okay, well, here is one I find interesting personally. Uh, Qin Shen Huanglang, the first emperor of China, I probably pronounced his last name wrong, died after ingesting several pills of mercury in the belief that it would grant him eternal life. His inert conteriors concealed the death while they plotted the succession and used cots of fish to disguise the smell of the corpse. He was then buried in a fantastic tomb which is still being excavated. His artifacts and treasures include the famous Dacoit army, which was created for him to rule upon his grave. If I'm correct, basically that's just a bunch of stone army men, basically. You know how kids play with plastic army men today? Basically, that dead guy's toy is a bunch of giant stone ones. Well, not giant, they're the same size as normal person, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of messed up. Okay, well, the martyr Saint Lawrence was roasted alive on a giant grill during the persecution of Valerian. I'm not going to say that last name. Tells that he joked with his tormentors, "Churn me over. I'm done on this side." He is now the patron saint of cooks and firefighters. That was in 258 AD, and that's pretty messed up, isn't it? Okay, Edward II of England, after being deposed and imprisoned by his wife Isabella and her lover Roger something, was rumored to have been murdered by having a horn pushed into his anus, through which a red hot iron was inserted, burning out his internal organs without marking his body. However, there was no real academic consensus on the manner of Edward II's death, and that is possibly argued that the story is propaganda. But even if that is propaganda, you have to be messed up to come up with that story. I mean, seriously, that is messed up. But, that is messed up. Uh, Adolf Frederick, King of Sweden, died of digestion problems on the 12th of February 1771 after having consumed a meal of lobster, caviar, sauerkraut, smoked herring, and champagne, topped off with 14 servings of his favorite dessert, Hetevag, served in a bowl of hot milk. He is thus remembered by Swedish schoolchildren as the king who ate himself to death. That's some way to go. That is one awesome way to go. But it was painful, though. His stomach would have literally been exploding inside of him. Ow. That would hurt. But still, some way to go. Uh, let's see here. David Douglas, in 1834, Scottish botanist, fell into a pit trap where he was trampled by a wild bull. That one's short, but look where you're going, dude. Seriously. Just look in front of you, and you won't be trampled by a bull. Hey, lesson if you ever go to Scotland. Look out for pit traps where wild bulls are at the bottom of. Clementine, not going to try and say that last name, a lawyer and Ohio U.S. politician defending a man on charge of murder accidentally shot himself, demonstrating how the victim might have shot himself while in the process of drawing a weapon when standing from a kneeling position. Though the defendant, Thomas McGinn, was ultimately cleared, whatever his last name is, Clementine, just Clementine, died from his wound. That was in 1871. Wow. But this is in the 20th century. In 1920, George Herbert, the fifth Earl of, not gonna try and say that, died after a mosquito bite on his face, which he cut while shaving, became seriously infected with whatever that disease that is transmitted by mosquitoes is called. I'm not gonna try and pronounce it. I'm just crazy today. Leading to blood poisoning and eventually, wow, that had to suck. And eventually, pneumonia. Some have alleged that his death is attributed to the so-called curse of the pharaohs. That is what they kind of discovered. They did kind of discover that the curse of the pharaohs was transmitted by bugs. So, yeah. I'll talk more about that in a later video because I really am interested in that. Okay, Philip McLean, age 16, from Queensland, Australia. That's the only one we've got the age of so far. Weird. Became the only person documented to be killed by a cassowary. How do you get killed by that? They're just turkeys. They're just big turkeys. Wow. Those are just big turkeys. How do you get killed by them? Actually, they're not really even big turkeys. They're just turkeys, really. How do you get killed by that? Uh, After encountering the bird on their family property near Mossman in April, McLean and his brother decided to kill it with clubs. When McLean struck the bird, it knocked him down and then kicked him in the neck, opening a 1.25 centimeter or half an or 0.5 inch long cut in one of his main blood vessels. Though the boy managed to get back on his feet and run away, he collapsed a short while later and died from the hemorrhage. Well, yeah, that's all for this video. It's pretty cuckoo, isn't it? Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace and